Welcome to episode 225 of the Whatnauts review show, where every week we pick a story and we talk about it. This could be a movie, TV show, anime, manga, comic book, audio drama, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, read it, listen to it, and then we come back here and we discuss it. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined, as always, by Kyle Springer.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's your week been?
It's nice. It's fall. It's October here. You can feel it. It definitely feels like October.
It's starting to cool off where I am, but it hasn't gotten there yet. Like this morning, it's still like low 70s, but it's supposed to get up in the like mid 80s and stuff. But next week, this coming Friday and Saturday, it's supposed to be a high of like 75 and 72. I'm just like, oh yeah, here it comes.
That's good stuff. This is a nice time of year. I got a couple little pumpkins up in my backdrop. I got all my Halloween decorations out.
Good stuff. That's fun. Good time of year, man.
Yeah. This is your first Halloween in this house. You've got a whole new house to decorate.
Yeah. We went to Michael's to get something. I forget what we were like actually there for, but we saw all of their Halloween decorations, and so we picked up a couple things, being like, "Oh, this would look neat. That would look neat." And when we got home, we kind of realized that these aren't just going to be Halloween decorations, are they? So, Melissa, you've been into our living room.
Oh,
it has this like witchy, like tarot card kind of theme to it. So we got it's basically like a big decoration that is the like Ouija board like thing that you can move around. I'm not sure if it has a specific name.
A planchette.
Sure. There you go. Planchette. We got like a giant size one of those. We got a sign for our wall that's all about like get your like magic ball rating done here, all that stuff. So we got this stuff that is like it fits the theme of our living room, and we're just like, these are gonna be up all year, aren't they? And we're like, yeah.
Right? I feel it. Some stuff is year-round stuff.
Absolutely. Stuff that should be year-round stuff, though, is Spooky Month. Here we are in Spooky Month for the review show.
Yeah. Every October, we dedicate entirely to Halloween adjacent things, which isn't to say we don't pop out some horror content other times of the month. Other times of the year.
Yeah.
I think back, we watched like Ready or Not in February once.
Yep.
I think it was summertime when we watched The Terror. So it happens at other times, but Halloween, the month of October, this is when we go whole hog on it. And we are kicking off this year with a pair of movies. Horror is a genre dominated by franchises, long-running franchises. So I pitched you a series of 2 movie franchises, just a movie and its sequel. Yeah. Maybe they make more later, but for now, you just have to watch 2 movies this week. And we watched Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You.
Yes, we did. I remember when they first announced this movie, and I immediately dismissed it. I think pretty famously here on the show, I'm not a huge horror fan. I can do comics, but I genuinely get scared. I just don't like the feeling of being scared. That's me. But I immediately dismissed Happy Death Day as like, oh, it's just gonna be your typical like teen college horror movie / just like not a very good one, right? Just it's gonna be the thing. But it has a time loop, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
I do like that. But yeah, just kind of dismissed it, and then it became a meme for like a short while. And then they announced a sequel, and I was so confused. I was like,
yes,
Melissa, I haven't even seen this. but I've seen Groundhog Day. I know what they're going for. I know what they're doing. Like what how they got out of it. What is going on here? This does not make sense at all. You had seen the first one. Is that correct?
Yes. I'd really enjoyed the first one, and I too was intrigued at how it could have a sequel with the exact same premise or the exact same character living the same day of her life over and over and over again for a second movie.
Right. Yeah, or if that's what they were doing and it's some kind of other time loop that next day, it just keeps happening, right? Who knows? But like, well, I guess now we know because we watched them now. But yeah, I was just very confused. And so when you pitched this past week, I was like, well, we kind of have to do these just to solve the mystery, just to figure it out.
All the other duologies I pitched you, no inherent mystery in them that we were dying to solve. We weren't like, how does she escape the escape room again?
But yeah, I had a blast with these ones. I don't think they'd be up there in my favorites. I don't think they're particularly great, if that makes sense. But they know what they are. I like the way that I would describe them to someone. They are confident in what they are. They are horror comedies that have this slight sci-fi twist to them. And to be honest, they're not really all that scary. And the slasher is more played for laughs, really, than it is like the horror of the situation. It's a lot of fun. It's an interesting one. It's wacky. There's a few jokes in there that made me laugh out loud. I think the actress who plays the main character has an incredibly expressive face. And it works for all the situations where she's happy, she's confident, she's upset, she's mad, she's angry, she's fuming, just all sorts of stuff. And I like how once we get to the second one, the cast starts to expand a bit here, which is good. I had a fun time.
Yeah, I think these are really well-toned horror comedies, or maybe more like horror themed dark comedies. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know exactly how you'd classify them if you went to get nitpicky. But I think the slasher movie element is well done. They're funny and they're really heartfelt. Like that was one of the best parts of the sequel to me, is how much it dug in on the emotions of this character having to go through this again. I think it's got a surprisingly really sincere and effective emotional through line in both of these movies. A great cast. I've never seen any of these people before or since. I don't know where her lead actress is. I'll have to look her up because I think she does a fantastic job in both of these films. Yeah. It is a good time. Yeah, and I definitely recommend the set. I recommend both to people.
Yeah. From what I can tell, a third installment is in the works. They weren't sure if they were going to get to make one. It seems like the sequel did not perform as well as they had hoped it would. But they have been kind of saying like, hey, we have an idea for a third story. It'll be out there eventually someday in some form. Even if they were like, okay, we can't make a movie, so maybe there would have been a book or a comic or something like that. But it seems like they have a script. They are trying to get the approval from Universal. At least that's what Wikipedia said as of November of 2020, I believe.
Okay. Well,
so
best of luck to you. Happy Death Day 3, you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got a really great sequel name. Don't know what the third name would be. Don't know how you continue this.
I believe they said the name would be, if it does actually work, Happy Death Day to Us.
Oh.
Instead. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Who knows? But yeah, like we said, we had a great time with this. Let's do a quick plot synopsis for people who still want a little more something.
Yeah. The first movie, it came out in 2017. It was directed by Christopher Landon and written by Scott Lobdell. And the sequel came out in 2019, I think, that was directed and written by Christopher Landon. And it's about this college student, a girl named Tree, short for Teresa, and it's her birthday. And she wakes up and she wants to ignore the fact that it's her birthday. She keeps getting these calls from her dad. She doesn't want to talk to her dad. She wakes up hungover in this guy's room, in this guy's dorm room on campus, who she tried to go home with. And he's like, "You were so drunk. You just passed out. I slept in my roommate's bed the whole night, and I made my roommate sleep in his car." So she has to do this walk of shame back to her sorority house, and she has these different conflicts throughout the day, with her sorority sisters, with her roommate, with this professor she's sleeping with, trying to avoid her dad. And at the end of the day, a killer dressed in black jeans, black hoodie, the mask of their college mascot, which is a baby.
Yep. Single tooth baby.
The Bayside University babies. Go, babies, go. So somebody in a baby mask kills her. She wakes up the next day and she thinks, weird, deja vu. I guess I had a funny dream last night. And then by the third day, she's like, no, this keeps happening. I have to solve my murder. I think that's how I get out of this. I have to solve my murder, and that will stop these days from looping over and over again. So it's a murder mystery and a nice look at how this girl recognizes the problems in her life, recognizes her flaws, admits, you know what, I don't think I'm a very good person. And I think this is my chance to become better, to fix things about my life in this continual state of trial and error where every day is entirely new and gets erased from the timeline. I'm going to make myself a better person as I try and get out of this thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is essentially Groundhog's Day, but with a slasher. And I guess to do a little bit of a synopsis for the sequel, hard to not really spoil something. So minor spoilers for the first one. I'm still going to keep this as spoiler free as I can. But with the inclusion of a sequel, I guess it's pretty plain to see that she figures it out. She gets out and moves on to the next day. However, we start this second movie following the roommate of the guy whose bed she woke up in. And he realizes he's in a time loop to do all of this stuff. He figures out it's one of his science projects, this like Spider-Man 2 looking device that is just some weird science thing, right?
It looks like those toys you'd buy at the Science Museum gift shop that are all those plastic. It's like a starburst that can collapse and expand.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah. And it turns out that they somehow caused the time loop from the first movie as they were working on this, and things continue to go wrong with this device so much so that instead of continuing the time loop with this roommate, it knocks them all back. It knocks them back into another dimension. So they are in a parallel reality in this second one. So it is her still waking up in that one guy's bedroom every morning. However, certain details are different. So it is not exactly the same, but there are some things that are switched around. So that helps to keep it new and okay, what will be changed next?
Yeah.
Exactly.
she still has to solve her murder, but now she goes right back to the person who she figured out did it in the first movie, and she realizes it's not that person.
Yeah.
She's like, well, okay, who is it now? Like, who is it in this universe?
Yeah, indeed. So these Mayobis, this is the last thing I will say for spoiler-free stuff. They wear their hearts on their sleeves as for what the influence is of each Mayobi. In fact, they say it in both of them. The first one ends with them being like, so have you seen the movie Groundhog's Day? She's like, what? No. The second one, like, you've seen Back to the Future 2, right? And she's like, what? No. it's just like, okay. Yeah. I wonder what the third one will be. If it's like, you've seen Primer, right? Like, what? No.
When the other characters is like, dude, have you seen Primer? Has anyone seen Primer?
Right? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I like these ones aren't like top tier great, but they are a lot of fun regardless. I think you will have a good time if you watch them. So go check them out.
Yeah.
Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day to you.
Yeah, I think we watched these on Hulu.
Oh,
Where were they?
I had to rent them because I couldn't find them.
They were on Hulu if you had like the Hulu package that gives you like live TV. I also rented them from YouTube.
Gotcha. There you go. Well, cool. With that said, we will take a quick break for housekeeping. And when we come back, we will dive into both of these Mayovis a little bit deeper. We will be right back. We put a lot of hard work into the shows that we make. And yes, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts. And we'd love it if you check them all out. You can find out more information on our website at thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. When you type in the Whatnauts, all of our shows will pop up right there. Just don't forget to give us a nice rating and review if you like the shows. If you want to support what we do here at The Whatnauts, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is the best place to do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You can get all kinds of exclusive content at the $3 tier. You can also get a shout out and a thank you on all of our shows at the $5 tier. You can support us on Twitch by subscribing to our channel at twitch.tv/thewhatnauts. And we would love to have you all join us for our live streams and talk with us in the chat. And lastly, we have merch. If you'd like to grab yourself a shirt or a sweatshirt or a mug or something else, go to thewhatnauts.com/store to pick up some merch today. And we are back. A big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you a ton. We appreciate it. It means a lot. Cool things that we've been up to here at the Whatnauts. If you are a Patreon supporter at the $3 tier, we've been doing this thing that we call the Pilots Club. I've been having a blast with the Pilots Club. I think it was a great idea. Basically, once a month, we kind of do what we do here on this show, on the review show, but we look at a new pilot of a TV show. The very, very first one, that proof of concept. And it could be from any show, new or old. It could be from a animated one, a live action one. Could be from one that never made it to TV, all sorts of stuff. The most recent one we did was on the critically acclaimed crime cop drama, The Shield. That one was very interesting. One that I eventually want to go back to on my own time, indeed, but that's up there. And then Melissa, what are we up to for Spooky Month for the Pilots Club?
We have an appropriately Halloween-themed episode of the Pilots Club we're going to be doing on Mockingbird Lane, which is a pilot that never made it to a full series, but they did air the pilot on TV as a one-off special, I believe. This was a remake of The Munsters, co-created by Brian Fuller, who's worked on past review show topics such as American Gods, Pushing Daisies, and Hannibal.
Indeed. Good stuff there. So here on the review show, of course, we're starting spooky month, all spooky all month. It's going to be a blast. Just a note that at the end of the month, when we normally do our end of the month special, that will be reserved for more spooky stuff. Our end of the month special will be at the start of November. And then on the captain's log, Melissa, you and I just debated fast food joints. We ranked our top 10 fast food joints.
Yeah, you and I each came with a list of 5 different restaurants, so that we had a combined 10. You know, some nationwide chains, some like local gyms from the regions we grew up, and we then had to mutually rank them. We had no influence over each other's list, but we had to agree on how to sort these into a top 10. It was really fun. I like the game. I look forward to doing it again in the future with a different topic.
Indeed. And last but not least, on the Reactor Core, go check out our reactions for She-Hulk. Those go up week to week. And we have our reactions to the first chunk of Star Wars Andor. Right, the first chunk.
Define chunk. Is it 3 episodes?
3 episodes, yes. So we will be doing 4 of those in total, but that means every 3 weeks is when that happens there. We're just letting them stack up. So good stuff with that. I also have a reaction on YouTube to the trailer for The Last of Us. So go check all that stuff out. But that is it for housekeeping. Let's hit that spoiler button and then dive in. Spoiler alert. Cool. Happy Death Day and happy Death Day to you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to start with asking you, were you able to solve the murder in the first movie?
No,
okay.
Not exactly.
That's all right.
So my first thought was that it was the guy that she woke up in his dorm room, the one that becomes the love interest, like all that stuff. What was his name?
Carter.
I'm terrible with names. Carter. Yeah.
Well, so is our main character. That's okay.
Because in that, so she goes through the first day regularly and then immediately loops back. I knew it was gonna be a time loop because that's on the back of the box, right? He says something different that second time, and he does not remember where his Tylenol is. And I was like, that's wrong. If he's in a time loop, he would either say the same thing, or if she's changing things, he would at least still remember where it is. Like, it's not like his memories are changing in this. He should still know exactly where they are. So I was like, something's up with this guy. I think he might be in the time loop too. Maybe he remembers all of that stuff. Turns out that was in fact not.
Yeah,
not
I don't even remember. I remember when she asked him for Tylenol. I don't remember if that happens on 2 different days and he says 2 slightly different things. I know she asked him for it once and he's like, here it is. And then another time she just grabs it because she remembers from a previous time loop where his Tylenol is.
The first time she asks him, he finds it pretty quickly. He goes to his desk. Like he knows, like, it's supposed to be here in this location. He's just not sure if it's like under a shirt or something like that. Whereas when she asks him the second time, he's just like, I have some around here, and then she has to start looking. And then she eventually finds it, but he had no idea where they were. And I was just like, that's not how a time loop works. But then like the 5th time or whatever, she just wakes up and hugs him and is just like, I need Tylenol, my head hurts. But yeah, he was my first like, something's up here.
Yeah, I think it does a good job of setting up various whodunit culprits who are slowly like knocked off one by one. Like in her, I say walk of shame because that is the common parlance. I'm not personally shaming our main character, but on her walk from Carter's dorm.
Different degrees of shame. There are some where she is just like, nobody look at me. And then there's that one where she obviously walks out butt ass naked and is just everyone look at me. Fuck yeah.
That is my favorite thing. I'm going to get back to what I was talking about in a minute. But like when she realizes I can live my life however I want to live my life during this time when I'm trying to solve my murder and escape from the time loop. So there's one day where she like cuts her hair and dyes it pink. And there's another day where she just walks out of Carter's dorm room naked. That was what I remembered the most about that first movie, is the day where she's like, I was going to streak across campus. Nothing can stop me. There's no repercussions. She's so proud, so happy to walk out nude into the world. We should all be so lucky.
Indeed.
But like one of the people she encounters on this walk is this guy who she went on like one subpar date with. And he's like, I've been texting you. Why haven't you been texting me back? And he seems like really obsessed with her. And of course, in her own mind, she's like, oh, maybe that guy killed me. So she goes to like spy on what he's doing, and she sees that he's watching gay porn, and she's like, oh, he just like wants a girlfriend so he doesn't have to confront, his sexual identity. I get this guy now. And I like that the next day she confronts him and she's like, you're gay. Like, it's okay. Yeah. Like, you own up to that part of yourself. Go out there, find a nice boyfriend. Like, it was nice meeting you. Like, she'll do that. Like, I like that one had a positive outcome. Not just like, is it this person? Oh, no, while I was spying on them, the killer still came to get me. So I know it's not that person. I like that she learned something about that guy and had like a message. Yeah. And I like that in the second movie, after like she's escaped from the time loop, she sees him like at the college basketball game sitting next to a guy, and she looks over at him with a thumbs up like, good for you.
Well, what's funny is the first time that she's now back in her time loop in that sequel, she's pissed off. She was just like, not again. I fucking hate this. Yeah. And she's walking down her walk of shame, and she knows that he's about to like turn that corner, and she does the most like, you're gay, like the most like angry, just like, get over it, bitch. And he's just like, what was that? Like, but it was
not
like,
angry at him, just angry at the concept that she has to keep like talking to him about it.
Yeah, but then you get to that one scene where they're like, okay, safety in numbers, let's go to the basketball game. And he's there at the game too, and she's just like, nice. And he's like, thanks. So good stuff with that. I like how the main character is as aware as the audience member is for who possible murderers could be. And I think I did narrow it down. I think I watched this movie like not too long after it came out, which is like 4 years ago now. Sure. I think I did figure out it was the roommate, but I don't know how soon before Tree figures it out that I realized it was her roommate. Yeah. So to help her figure out these suspects in this first movie, she goes to Carter, who's kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily say he's a nerd. He obviously likes horror movies because he has some horror movie posters on there.
Yeah, he's got a They Live poster. He's got a Mystery Science Theater 3000 poster. Carter is good taste. In my mind, I remembered him being a film student, but I realized they never explicitly state that.
Interesting. He is just kind of that, like he is a nerd, but he's not like, he's not so nerdy that you're just like, oh, this guy's a nerd.
If this movie would have been made,
he's just normal.
If this movie would have been made 10 years earlier, he would have been played by Adam Brody. He's that type of guy.
That's the one that was in the Kid Detective, right?
Yes, that's
yes?
the Kid
Okay,
Detective.
That was like, I was like, man, he looks exactly like the guy from the Kid Detective.
Right. You know,
that
he
guy's
was
name
also he was also like the brother-in-law in Ready or Not, the one guy who's like, I hate that we have to play this game.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, he's just like real middle of the road, normal, not really super
pleasant.
Yeah, I mean he's pleasant, he's nice, but it like just and I in the best way possible, he's just wet toast, like he's just but in the best way possible.
Yeah,
though. Like he's just so middle of the road. But yeah, I completely forget where I was going with that, since we sidetracked into who he looks like and all of that stuff.
we were talking about like when you were able to identify, or like your track of figuring out the murder alongside Tree's investigation.
So she eventually kind of confesses to him like, hey, you seem like a nerd. I'm in a time loop. Help me out here. This seems crazy, I know, but if I was, what would I need to do to solve it? And so he helps her out. He's like, well, make a list of suspects. If you know it's just going to loop and loop and loop, take advantage of that. Like,
yeah,
just investigate people, follow them, like do all that stuff. So she starts making like it could be the guy, like the teacher I'm sleeping with. It could be this guy that I dated one time and he seems to be stalking me. Could be like my sorority later, like all this stuff. And I think the funniest joke, to me at least, in the entire series is when she is in full camo, a gully suit, night vision goggles, just out there completely spying on like her sorority sister or
no, I think
whoever.
I think she's spying on in day one, like before the day is looping, she like goes to her professor's office. He's a doctor at like the campus at like the university hospital. She goes to his office there to like make out with him, and then his wife knocks on the door. And so she thinks maybe his wife figured out that he was cheating on her with me. And so she's like spying on the wife. Yeah. And then while she's spying on the wife, there's Babyface suddenly coming up behind her to stab her.
Yeah. Which is, it's just like not what I expected at all, to see her in full like camo face paint and everything. It's just like, this is so stupid. I love it. That one, I absolutely laughed out loud. I was just like, she's in full camo. Oh my God.
Right. I do like when the movie gets sillier like that, because it's got the setup where it can be that silly. In the second movie, Tree has to be in control of her own death. Like, she needs to control when she is restarting the day over, so she doesn't wait to be murdered. She like has to kill herself in these various ways, and she could do it like any normal way. I don't want to say normal, but like a way you would need to kill yourself that could be more easily attained. And instead she's like, no, I'm going to run into a wood chipper. I'm going to go skydiving in a bikini.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it like they have a great excuse to use montages of all these loops and just these, let's show all of these creative deaths that we can do, or these funny situations, spying on whoever, right, to see if they are the ones. And yeah, what surprised me though is in the second movie they reveal that the first movie only took her 11 loops to figure out and solve it, which I was like, that seems low. Like
that's true.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be like I did this like 157 times. Because in Groundhog's Day, he ends up
thousands
like
of years.
Yeah. He ends up like learning the piano and multiple languages. Like, right? It's just like, but she is just like, no, like I'm gonna get out of this as fast as I can here.
Yeah, I think Groundhog Day is a movie where the time loop is more abstract. Like Bill Murray doesn't know what specific thing he has to do to break that.
Right.
So it's this longer journey of like deeper self-discovery, of deeper betterment. And Tree's got this very specific goal of, oh, I get it. I have to solve my murder, and that will get me out of this. And that's like a much smaller problem with like fewer variables in it. Like she knows who her possible murderers could be. She does have a self-betterment journey, but of course, being like a 21-year-old woman, she has fewer problems to fix in her life than a whole Bill Murray.
Yeah. The one thing I think that threw me off from finding the culprit and figuring out that it was the roommate was when you see the slasher in the baby mask, he is more masculine, right? And of course, we find out that like part of the roommate's plan was to release this serial killer. So there's probably a number of these loops where it actually is like that guy, like in this thing, and so you like it throws you off in that sense of like, okay, that guy is bigger, he has more muscle, like you can just see like that's not a woman's figure who's in that. I mean, he is in like a baggy sweatshirt.
Right. And I think that goes a lot to sort of hide the true figure that's underneath it. Is you're like, it could be maybe you're just wearing a lot of layers under there, or maybe you are more muscular. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like when we do see the roommate, she is this like much more feminine looking figure. She's more slender. She just like has those more traditional like feminine looks to her, whereas like okay, the slasher I just saw, like that can't be her because they don't have the same like figure there. So like that was the one thing that threw me off. But then immediately when they did that, I was like, that fits, that makes sense. Yep. Like she kept like tossing out this cupcake. The one time she did, like she went to sleep and like died that way. So I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I do really like the I guess you could call it the twist, that even though like if you're thinking right, like you could kind of see it coming. I don't know if it's a twist if you could predict it happening, but the twist that it is the roommate who's been trying to kill her, starting from the very beginning of the day where she always gives her like a happy birthday cupcake, and Tree realizes she keeps like, oh, I don't want the cupcake. Like, I don't want to deal with it's my birthday, or like their sorority presidents. Like, we're all going to be thin. We're all going to be fit. We're all going to be pretty. Like yells at a girl for drinking a chocolate milk. Like she's just not eating it time after time. And the one day she does, she like is the one day she's been able to escape the murder, and she wakes up. She doesn't unmask the culprit, but she got away. And she thinks, okay, well, maybe I'm safe now, and I'm just going to enjoy my happy birthday cupcake with Carter in like full 16 candles moment. And then she wakes up the next day and she's like, how did I die? How did I die? And she realizes she died in her sleep because she ate the cupcake and the cupcake was poisoned.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how many different methods of death are in the movie, from like gunshots, stabbings, stabs with a knife, stabs with a broken glass bong. She falls. There's poison. And every different clue card plus bong is in here.
Indeed. What was I just gonna say? So let me get this straight. So the roommate decided to kill her because she was jealous of her sleeping with the teacher, right?
They're both sleeping with that doctor, but the roommate, I think her name's Lori. Lori can tell he likes Tree way more than he likes her. And she tells this to Tree in their final confrontation, and Tree's like, you're doing all this over a guy? And Lori's like, well, that and other reasons. You're just generally a bad roommate, and I hate you. I like that that's the main impetus, but it's not exclusively I am jealous because a man I likes you better. It is part of a larger picture.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I just wanted to make sure I had that straight there. I did like at the end there when she's by the window and she looks up at the light and then it's just like, that's how I kill her, and like jumps and swings and kicks her out the window. I was like, again, this is just ridiculous. I love it.
I like that we see Tree because it's Carter who has to introduce to her, hey, I think maybe this time loop you're in gives you the opportunity to look at every different culprit on every different day that you die. Like, it's his idea. And then Tree adapts to it. We watch this girl become more clever, more adaptable. She really learns to look at everything around her as a resource to solve this problem. I like that we get to see her like problem solving abilities grow the longer she's stuck in these really weird circumstances, to where she's like, all right, I can glance up at this light fixture in my room and like immediately see within a second that it's the right leverage so that I can hop up there and grab onto it and then like jump kick my roommate out the window. Exactly.
Let's focus a little bit more on the second movie here.
I loved this opening, that it's it's Carter's roommate Ryan who's been like barging in on him and Tree every morning, like, hey bro, did you hit that fine vagina yet? And he's just been like one of the little obstacles, one of the little like Groundhog Day markers that Tree's had to navigate around day after day after day. And he makes the line about like, Carter took my bed, I've been sleeping in my car. So we see him wake up in his car. I love the perspective shift that we see that guy's day and him walking past all of these like pedestrian civilian markers of the Groundhog Day. He walks through the same courtyard past the same girl with the climate change petition sheet. And then we think it's going to be his day to loop over and over again. But like it happens twice and he's like, I came in here with some deja vu, and Tree's like, I know what's going on. I lived through this. It's happening to you now. Why is this happening?
Melissa, the opening to this second one was brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah.
I was so upset when it knocked them back into another dimension and now we're following Tree again. I was just like, no, I want to see that guy go through all of this stuff. Like, I kind of would have loved to see it stick with him the entire time, but still have Tree, like, having known what it's like, try to convey to him what he needs to do every single time. Because he is the science nerd. He's smart in that sense, but he doesn't seem like he seems more like the dumb roommate that it just like not street smart, not just like maybe like you say something and it takes a minute for him to process it, right? Like that, like he seems like that. And I think that would have been really funny to see him go through that the entire way and us stick with him and just having to be like having to catch her up on everything that he's tried every single time. And we don't necessarily get that. We do get in that original timeline that they're in, or that original universe, that they've gone so far with this that like one of the loops of so long story short of this intro, the killer is himself. It is this guy. He's looping back in time to kill himself because there's some kind of contradiction with like all that stuff. And I liked that, but the one that they caught, like, he is much more adept at like the violent, like all like he seems more like a secret agent than right. Like he seems more like an assassin rather than just like, I'm just some guy who went back in a time loop and now I need to kill myself and I hate this and I don't know what. Like he seems like it's all his fault. Like I've had to learn skills to take out myself and do that, right? That was interesting to me because that implied that, oh, there must be something much, much bigger than this, which we do get a hint at the end of this movie too. There is like like a mid-credits scene that we get here that implies that there is some like bigger time loop thing that is happening here. So I loved that. I thought that was brilliant. And then I felt just as upset at Tree was when she woke up back in the time loop. And I was like, no, I wanted to follow whatever his name was.
I did really like the idea of it happens to another character, like a very small side character from the first movie who has no development, who's there for one joke. And then Tree has to coach him through this experience because she's been there before. I like that premise, but I have to side with the emotional growth that Tree gets from her living this day over and over again in a side universe. It's a universe where a lot of things are similar, but like Carter's dating Danielle, who's like her mean sorority president. Yeah. And all these little things are different. And she's like, okay, well, I got to get back to my main universe then. And she goes to the birthday lunch with her dad, just like in the first movie. And then her mom is there. And like that's one of the major things of the first movie, that like her mom died a couple years ago. The two of them shared a birthday. She doesn't like to deal with her birthday because it makes her think of her mom. And she doesn't want to go see her dad on her birthday because neither of them really know how to deal with it. And it's just this like painful small talk, like, so how's school? And when she goes to the lunch and sees her mom there, and then decides,
so excited.
I can't go back to that main universe anymore. I have to be here with my mom. Like, it's sad that I'm not dating Carter anymore, but like my mom wins. And then her journey to try so hard to stay with her mom and then realize this, like her mom will mention, oh, do you remember on your birthday, like 2 years ago, we got that giant cinnamon roll? And Tree's like, no, I don't remember that. And like she's looking through her phone in this universe with all these pictures of her and her mom together, and she's like, these aren't my memories. There's a sense of how there was once another Tree in this universe, and she's like, I can't take that Tree's life. As much as I wish I had my mom back, I have to go back to my own universe where I belong, where all those experiences have made me the person I am today. And then this Tree can get to have her mom. It's really heartbreaking. And all the scenes with her and her mom are so well done, so effective.
Yeah, I like it a lot that she has to eventually give up her mom there. And it is, man, to see her to see when her mom showed up and she was so ecstatic, like that is one of the scenes that I think sticks out in my mind to be just like, man, I don't know that the actress's name, but who played Tree, man, she's so expressive. Incredible. She is so, it was just like that was a great scene. Yeah, I liked that a lot. And like you said at the start, these movies have a lot of heart to them. I was thinking part of the mystery would be something surrounding her mom's death. I don't remember if they said exactly like when she died, how she died. It seemed like she was sick. I think it was maybe.
Yeah, I think it was like leukemia,
cancer, or something like that. I was wondering if it was something to do with like her mom's death somehow in the first one, and she would have to like, because it seemed like she was avoiding dealing with her mom, and it was like, does she need to like learn how to cope with this? I don't know, but I think by the end of this second one, she has coped with this and has figured it out, has come to terms that like, hey, no, my mom is not here, but I need to cherish those memories. I need to look back on the time that I did have with her and really, really love that and connect with my dad with that too. Like you use that to connect to him too.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I love her journey in this movie. To me, this is so worth it has so much more weight than anything we would have gotten if we were following Ryan's day. Like that would have been really clever, really funny. It would be nice to get to know Ryan and his journey, but I like that instead of starting on another character's journey, we go even deeper with Tree. I just looked up Jessica Roth. That's the actress. Roth or Roth. There's an E at the end. Don't know if that's silent. Okay. I don't recognize anything else she's been in, but she's worked pretty steadily over the last 7 years. She was apparently in La La Land. I don't know if she was maybe one of Emma Stone's roommates or actresses she was auditioning against. I don't remember her in that, but
that's cool. Next
time I see the movie, I will look for her. I really liked her performance in these movies. I really look forward to the next time I get to see her.
For sure. Were there any kind of characters that you wished the movie explored some more? Because that was what I liked about the second one, is that the cast starts to expand, right? Not only do you get what was his name? Carter's roommate. I forget his name. Ryan. Not only do we get to see him a little more and we get to spend some time with him, but now he has these two scientist friends that are helping him make this device that screwed everything up, right? We get to see that. I liked them. They were fun. They were a great addition.
Wish we got to spend a little bit more time with the two of them.
Yeah, but were there any other characters that you wanted to spend more time with or wanted to know more about?
There's every day in the time loop when Tree would go home to the sorority house, she walks by this one girl who's sitting on the front porch with headphones and she waves at Tree and Tree doesn't wave back. She just ignores her. And as the loops go on in the first movie, she's like, I should stop and wave back to that girl. Mm-hmm. And then that's all it is. That's all their exchange is. And then at the end of the movie, when she kicks Lori out the window, she lands in front of that girl and that girl's covered in blood and she screams. I wish we got to know that girl's name. Does she look up to Tree? Does she want to be friends with Tree? What's their dynamic? The girl who Danielle makes fun of for drinking the chocolate milk. I'd like to know more about her.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with the one girl who's sitting on the steps. That was the one that came to mind immediately. Was she seems so nice. Why not? I would have loved to spend more time with the scientists. I do also like the addition of this new teacher, the one that is trying to shut down the project. Dean. As much as I don't like him, I want to know more about him and why does he have these two? I mean, he has the two security guards following him around and stuff, but why does he want to keep shutting that project down? I know he says money and it's messing with this stuff, but
it's causing those blackouts.
I feel there's something more there. I feel like he actually saw that it was a good idea and he's trying to steal it and sell it.
Oh, maybe.
There's something else there. I'm just I need to know more.
I do like that the blackouts are one of the standard parts of Tree's day in the first movie. There's this blackout at 9:30 every night. Danielle's and it's just chalked up to the school maybe being low on funding or it's an older school, their their interface, their grid isn't updated or whatever. Yeah. But I like that the second movie's no, there's an explanation for that. This thing you never really questioned that much. I like that addition. I do like that Dean. I like that we do learn odd things about him, that he loves cats or that he sits in the professor's lounge every night and knits because his wife got him to quit smoking and now he needs something else to do at the end of the night when he would otherwise be smoking. I like that detail. The scene where they need to cause a diversion and go in there and get his keys so they can unlock the room where the experiment machine is, and they send Danielle in there, and there's this alternate universe. Danielle is slightly nicer. Like, she's less overtly mean and more of just sort of vapid and like low-key manipulative. Like, she seems to really like Carter, but also be like, Carter, I need your help to write my English paper. I'm going to fail this class without you. They set up early in the movie that she's going to try out for the school's production of The Miracle Worker, playing Anne Frank. And so her diversion at the end of the movie is to go in pretending to be blind, but also to be a French exchange student. And I don't know why she's also French.
She's just trying to be an actress, just like trying to do the most. It's just like, okay, yep, that makes sense for her.
Right. But the physical comedy bits where she's stumbling all over everything, just trying to like get the professor distracted so they can go into the science lab again. And she like pulls down some giant tapestry off the wall and she's wrapped up in it and he's trying to get her out. And he's like, just move towards the light. Wait, I'm sorry. That was offensive. I know you can't see. Then like her deliberately wrapping herself up tighter in the tapestry. And he's like, stop turning in circles. You're making it worse. Like, I think the concept of that scene might be a little too broad, but like that actor's like exasperation dealing with the situation, I think he is funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone else that I would like to know more about is the wife of the teacher.
Yeah.
The one that they were sleeping with, the doctor teacher dude. Because, yeah, like she is heartbroken on the side, like is suspecting him of sleeping with some of his students and stuff like that. But I think you can tell she doesn't know who exactly. Because in the first movie, when you see her open the door and they let her into his office and Tree is also right there, she just has this like her demeanor just immediately falls. And yeah, it's someone who absolutely would have motive, right, to do that. But then besides that, you really don't learn anything about her. And I feel like she is a character that is just kind of tossed away. Like, we don't get to know if she knits or stuff like that, or if she likes cats or who, something like that. We just know that she's not happy. And like, is she still in love with him? Does she want to leave? Is she wanting to take everything? Like, what's up with her? Like, what I would love to see all of that stuff.
I would like to learn an additional fact about her beyond jilted wife.
Yeah.
Like, what's her profession? Has she would she ever have an affair? What if she's sleeping? She's also a professor. She's also sleeping with somebody. The one detail I really wish I got from these movies is I want to know what Tree's major is. Like, despite this being a college set movie, we never find out like what her major is, what her career goals are. We know that she's had at least one class with this doctor, but we don't know if it was like, is she in some sort of a pre-med program, or maybe he was just teaching like Bio 101 and she had to take it as a prerequisite class.
She mentions the name of the class at one point, and it is a fairly advanced thing. So I would assume it is some kind of medical something.
I just feel like it's clear that like, oh, her roommate Lori is like in a nursing program. Like, we see, or some sort of, she's wearing scrubs, like she's working at the hospital, and we don't have a sense of Tree's academic life beyond she has to have some reason to have met and started an affair with this professor. Yeah. In the second movie, one of the big plot points is that every day she's looping. She has to walk this this group of science kids through, running the machine through different tests to figure out how to fix the loop and get her back to her original universe ultimately. And so every day she has to like memorize these equations. So the next day when she loops, she tells them, this is what you tried yesterday and it didn't work. So try the next iteration, the next variation of this thing until we get it to work. And I'd like some sort of reference to either, oh, it's a good thing I'm studying something like this so I can remember it. Or if it's like, I'm an English major, I don't know how to do this. Like, there's no joke about how it's either easy or difficult for her. And I wish I had more context for what her regular studying is so I can know how this one memorization test collaborates with that.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I wish I knew.
I think the one clue we get is she's in the class. It seems like an advanced one, but when it comes to the science stuff, that seems out of her wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But so that's why I'm like, she might be in some kind of like medical thing, but not like chemistry, science, like splitting the atom, time loop science, right? Like she might be in, who knows? Who knows?
I wish I had a more academic version of this film. I like the college setting, and I wish I knew a little bit more about like what is Tree's major. What day of the? It seems like it's a week. Did she have classes she has to go to today? Like, there's no school-based activity she has to do on any of these days.
It also seems like it's early in the semester. Like they have people like they're hazing the new people into the fraternity. So I feel like it's that first week, right, where it's like, okay, classes are kind of whatever. That's why she was able to drop that class with no real consequence. Who knows what? But it also seems like she's not a first year. Like, she's been there because she already has that sorority house. She's already had this roommate. Who knows?
And the makeup of all the different girls in the sorority is interesting. Like, I wish I had more time with them. And like, why? Like, who's really passionate about the sorority? And like, does Lori really care about it? Did Lori join the sorority like because does she like any of the other girls? Does she really like that house? Does she think the sorority like looks good on a resume or something? I want to know so much more about like the collegiate side of everybody's lives.
Yeah. That stuff would be interesting to know. But I think that leads us to this kind of end credits, mid credits scene that we get here, which I think they also kind of alluded to at the start of the second film, that there is something bigger happening. Here. At the end, some mysterious organization, I forget the name of it.
It's DARPA. It's DARPA, which is real, like the Defense
they are real.
Advanced Research Project Association, like that is, or at least has been, like a real government science branch.
They come and not arrest, but they what's the right word? Detain? That's not the right word.
They enlist.
They're essentially trying to recruit this group of like three, or like it's the five of them, right? Because it's Tree, Carter, whatever his roommate's name
Ryan,
was, and then
like
the
Ryan's
other two
scientists.
And they're like, hey, you guys are the ones that figured this out. We need your help. And they like bring them to this facility, this DARPA facility, and they have another one of those machines. And which they've named Sissy, short for Sisyphus, right? So they're like, oh my god, you have Sissy. How did you do that? Like, what in the world? And it just like they're alluding that like, hey, you guys caused some issues. Like, we're going to need you to fix these things here and close some other time loops. There might be a bigger one that's happening, where either that's like a time loop of a full week or a whole year, or who knows what, or it's they need to go into these other dimensions and close the loops for them somehow. Who knows what? We don't know. But considering that there is potentially something bigger going on, what would you like to see in the third one. Is there something that you wished they had done in these first two that you hope they include? Any certain influence from another like time travel, time loop movie that you would like to see them include?
Well, you said that if they were to put out a sequel, they might call it Happy Death Day to Us, indicating that it is a group of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, given the time that has passed since the last movie, I'd kind of like it if instead of it picks up directly where the previous one left off, because we've done that twice. I wouldn't mind like a bit of a time jump. And now it's like her and Carter are getting married and they have to repeat their wedding day over and over again.
I gotcha. Yeah. That would make sense. Yeah. I liked that this second one picked up on exactly where that one left off. But yes, I feel like they don't need to do that gag again.
And it's going to become harder and harder. Like, I think there was like a year and a half of filming between the first two movies, which is a decent amount of time, but I guess maybe with like a younger cast, like you don't really look that different after a year and a half. And maybe I'm sure all these people still look great, but given the time that has passed, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off as smoothly again. So like lean into the time jump. Like, let's see where these characters are later on in their lives. And I think the relationship between Tree and Carter is effective. One of my favorite moments in these two films is over this first movie, she's like falling for him, and he like every day is a new day to him. Like, he likes her, but she's like just more advanced in her feelings for him because she's gotten to spend more of this time with him. And in the second movie, somebody like addresses the two of them as a boyfriend and girlfriend, and Carter's like, "Oh, she's not my girlfriend." And Tree looks at him hurt, and he's like, "Are you my girlfriend?" And she's like, kinda. And then he smiles. Like, I like that he doesn't know the depth of her feeling for him, but he recognizes that a possibility is there. And he's so happy to learn that she does really, really like him after spending so many extra days with him. Yeah. And that their love is something. I think the second movie treats their romance at an appropriate level, where she lands in this world where it's like, oh, Carter's dating Danielle, but my mom's alive. Of course, I want to live in the world where my mom is alive. And if she realizes, no, this is wrong, I have to let this universe's Tree live with her mom. I have to go back to the world that I came from, that made me, where I've lived through the loss. I've got this relationship with my dad, and I can go back to Carter. She's like, I genuinely do miss Carter. I love what I have with Carter. I want to go back there. Like, I like what they have, and I would love to see a movie where the two of them are on the same page. Like, both of them are living through a time loop together.
That makes sense. Yeah, I would like to see like the inclusion of like, what is the next film that they are pulling from? Is it something like Primer? Are they are they using this machine to actually like pull off a heist or something like that? Like, is this like a time loop heist to do something that would be interesting? But then we also get this hint that they were testing stuff. Like, they were only in the testing phase with this thing, in which they put Danielle in a time loop, which is really funny. I would like to see her go through all of that stuff, but I'm also okay with them just being like, so she had her own time loop and did all of that stuff. She figured it out. Here's what we learned. Now on to the actual thing, right? Or did, because they apparently released a novelization of each of these movies in time for the second movie. So could be neat to have like her time loop explored in like a comic book or another novel or something like that. But something that I thought would be neat is time loops within time loops, of like, what if there was another character who was also in this time loop but wasn't necessarily involved with them?
Yeah.
And is just figuring it out on their own, like, don't know how this got, like, this did this thing, but is also stuck in this time loop there is at least conscience that they are in this time loop, but maybe have no power to say when it loops.
Yeah.
And so they are this kind of like wild card changing things here. And then they eventually have to find them and meet them or get them to like not do anything or something else. I don't know. Like I was always curious to see if there was someone who was also in the loop and knew they were in the loop and was acting like they weren't. Like, is the killer also in this loop here?
Yeah.
And they like are just trying to do things the same way every time so that they can get a certain result. Something like that would be neat, but I have no idea. I think they can go in all sorts of directions with this.
I do really like these characters. I think that is a highlight of this pair of films. You really do like the protagonist and the people in her life, and you want to learn more about them. And I really hope we are able to see these characters again. I think horror is a genre that has so many sequels because you can find ways to do it budget effectively, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be a big special effects show. Like, you can get so much out of horror with just like lighting and mood and shadow, and like fake blood isn't that expensive to make. And when I mentioned I would love to see their wedding day repeated over and over again, I'm like, oh, that adds like a certain budget for like hair, makeup, dresses, flowers. The cost of a wedding, a literal wedding in our world would have to be repeated so much. So maybe like an engagement party or something slightly cheaper. But like, I really hope they're able to make it work and come back to this.
So you mentioned the budget. The first movie had a $4.8 million budget and made $125 million worldwide.
Yeah. Horror multiplies like that.
Yeah. The second movie did not gross as much. It only grossed $64 million worldwide, but it had a $9 million budget. So they doubled the budget and then made less. But yeah, like I would like to see a third one. I would like to see them add in another genre into the mix, right? We've already like, so the first one had that little bit of sci-fi just with the fact that it is a time loop. This second one like pumped up the sci-fi with this Sisyphus device and DARPA being included at the end here. And of course the influence being Back to the Future. Like we said, like what if they do a heist? What if it's more of a spy thriller? Like what if it's more of something like I want to see it be a horror comedy, something else. Yeah. Like we know it will have the sci-fi thing of the time loop, but what is that extra like, man, like I would like to see them do another
romance.
Genre.
Level up the romance so much that is the third tenet of what's happening.
Have you seen 50 First Dates? Yeah, to be honest though, that would probably be the kind of movie that they do. That like, have you seen 50 First Dates? That Adam Sandler, like that feels appropriate to what they're going for here. Not
so the day
Primer.
The day that Drew Barrymore is living over and over and over again due to a brain injury in that movie is her father's birthday, which is my birthday. Fun fact, October 13th. Maybe it is like now it's Tree's dad's birthday, and maybe it's like at the birthday dinner they're like, we're gonna tell dad we're engaged or something. I really want to see this romance progress. I think like in the timeline that they could make a sequel, like this pair of characters would be around like maybe a marriage stage. Again, I'd love to see. We don't have a clear major for either of them. I'd love to see where they are in any careers they have.
Yep. Indeed. I don't think I have anything else to say on Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2. Do you have any kind of final thoughts that you want to add?
Not just a solid, fun time. I really do enjoy these movies.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, with that, let me open up Bingo here and see if we can pull this up on screen. There we are. Let's see. Hey, I got one. I have one of these things. Meeting yourself thanks to time travel.
Ooh. What? What does my bingo sheet say the way you wrote it down? Because what I wrote down is breaking the rules of time travel. And as much as these movies deal with time travel,
the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe I wrote mine down more broadly, and you wrote down the specific example of breaking the rules was meeting yourself.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, it works for you too, because that double of him was like, hey, we're trying to kill him because he's breaking. Like, don't let him do this stuff. It's screwing everything up. So I feel like yours works too, or at least the way. Okay,
I have 13 bingos now.
Oh man, that did give me one more bingo from last time too. Let me see how many. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Didn't I say I had 11 last time? What am I missing here? I don't know, but we're getting real close. You only have 2 spaces left that yours can go. I have 3. So you're 1 space above me here. Let me save that. That was our quick little bingo check-in. Of course, each week we like to play like movie trope bingo, entertainment trope bingo here on the show. And it's I think switching to this larger bingo board and just seeing how long it takes us to fill it up in the course of the year has worked. Has been the right amount of space and time and all that good stuff.
Yeah. I think the 7x7's a good size grid.
Indeed. Recommendations. If people enjoyed Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to you, what else might they enjoy?
I wanted something to recommend with this movie, and it gave me an excuse to watch a movie that had been on my list for about a year. Another movie about a girl trying to solve a murder, which is Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright's movie that came out last year.
How was that?
I enjoyed it. It is about this girl who lives in contemporary times, and she moves to London for fashion school, and she really admires London in the 1960s, which is this time period where she liked the fashion, she liked the music. She grew up with her grandma. Her grandma is always telling her about this. But she does also have an ability to see some ghosts sometimes. Not in a full ghost whisperer way, just in a quiet way that it's something her and her family are aware of, that she's kind of sensitive about things. So she moves to the city. She takes this flat in this like a attic apartment, in this flat in London. And she finds that when she sleeps there, every time she goes to sleep, she's living the life of a woman who lived in that flat in the 1960s. She's seeing her full life and realizing that she thinks this woman has been murdered. And she's trying to figure out it in, like the year 2019 or whenever this movie is supposed to be set. I don't know if the pandemic exists in this movie. Whatever year she's living in, she's trying to go back and like look through historical records and like tell the police, like, I think a woman was murdered here in like 1965.
Interesting.
And every night when she goes to sleep, she like sees a little bit more, learns a little bit more, and becomes increasingly more haunted by these images, even in her waking life. I think it looks beautiful. It's a really well shot movie. I like how
I know there's a bunch of like ghost neon stuff in that. I was like, ooh, let me watch that.
Yeah, great production design. I really like the visualization of these supernatural encounters that she has. I think there's elements of the story that are a little harsher than I would like, but technically it's a really impressive film. I really love the look of the thing. And it's worth it for me. So yeah, you might check out Last Night in Soho. And of course, we've mentioned Primer, which is tonally, genre-ly, so different. Primer is like a tiny, tiny micro budget movie that like one guy like wrote, directed, starred in, edited, composed. It's like a very serious The Room. And it's about these guys who invent a time travel device, and they use it to keep going back in the days and like play the stock market and like get money so that they can keep inventing things. It's these two guys who do this. And over the course of the movie, you realize you have been seeing things that aren't from the timeline when you thought they were from, or you thought you were looking at one version of a guy and you're looking at like, no, that's that guy from the day before or the day after. And these two main characters have been trying to conspire against each other in their time travel journeys.
Yeah,
and like
it is the like time traveler, the time travel movie fan time travel movie.
It is like, technical. It is crunchy in all its details. It is near inscrutable if you don't have a physics degree. Yeah. Like you don't watch this movie as a general film lover. You watch it as specifically as a sci-fi or like time travel genre person. It is it does not have any real production value to it. The main characters are just like guys in ties. Like there's no like visual sparkle to the thing. There's no like crisp, sharply written dialogue. It's like reading a manual.
It's crisp and sharply written. Let's be honest.
Well,
but it does not slow down for a second. It will leave you behind if there's no, you don't know.
There's no charm. There's no wit. It's just pure technical prowess from beginning to end. And there is something really, it's kind of intimidating, but also impressive. Like it is there's no film like Primer.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we can also toss in Groundhog's Day and Back to the Future, like all that stuff, since they named those in this movie. Things I would also put in there. There's one of my favorite time travel media is an anime called Steins Gate. In which this guy invents time travel. He's a self-proclaimed mad scientist and has like a small group of friends that help him and all of that stuff. But he invents time travel out of a microwave and a cell phone. And in doing so, gets the attention of CERN and DARPA and all that stuff. And in the process, one of his friends is killed. And so he keeps going back, trying to save her and do all of this stuff, and just loop after loop after loop. What if I do this? What if I do that? What if I do this? And he gets so deep in there that he's just like, what do I have to do to figure this out? But yeah, it's also very smartly written. It's funny too. It is hilarious. But man, it's also just very smartly researched and stuff like that. I would highly recommend that. There's a video game that I think you guys should check out. Life is Strange.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of an older game at this point. The graphics might not be up to par for some people out there, but it is a story that is very heavily influenced by like Twin Peaks and stuff like that. But as the main character, you have the power to kind of rewind time. So it is a like choose your own adventure kind of game where the story will play out and then you get choices to make. Do you say this thing to a character or do you say this thing? And so you have to pick one. But if you don't like the immediate outcome, you can always rewind and do the opposite outcome. So you can kind of see the immediate thing of either one. But that's the thing, is sometimes an immediate choice might have like good things immediately, but bad things down the road here. So you kind of have to pick and choose what you want. And yeah, it's not a time loop per se, but time travel indeed. So I would recommend that. Go play Life is Strange.
Good. I also want to mention, I know the movie Palm Springs has a similar time loop concept. I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list.
Yeah. And then what's the Russian doll one? That's also
Russian Doll is
thing?
the name of it. Yes. Yeah, that's also a time loop. That one's a show. Yeah. I had a roommate who watched it, and I saw like a couple episodes that way.
Yeah. Last thing I'll mention, this is also tonally very different genre, but if you want time travel, time loop stuff, go watch Dark on Netflix. This is it's not a Groundhog's Day situation, but it is a much like longer term like slow burn time loop thing that's happening there.
You fall through a time vortex, you're stuck in 1985, you just have to live in 1985 and watch out for yourself when you get back to the time you're from in like the 2000s.
Indeed. So yeah, go check out all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Melissa, it's my turn for pitching what we do next here on Spooky Month.
It is.
A long time ago, before this iteration of the review show back on the Whatnauts podcast, we read Uzumaki by Junji Ito, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So I wanted to pitch some more Junji Ito books.
Yes.
Some more manga.
You pitched, you told me ahead of time this is something you wanted to do, and I fully support it. I know that he is one of the masters of horror within the manga medium. All I've read is the short story.
In general.
Yeah. You know, you don't have to pigeonhole him exclusively within a single medium. Yeah, he's well recognized. And I read the short story, the Mystery of Amigara Fault, I think it's called. And I've never read any of his longer works. I look forward to it. Tell me what you got.
There you go. So pitch number 1, I think, is one of his earliest works here. This is called Tomi. And it says, Tomi Kawakami is a femme fatale with long black hair and a beauty mark just under her left eye. She can seduce nearly any man and drive them to murder as well, even though the victim is often Tomi herself. While one lover seeks to keep her for himself, another grows terrified of the immortal succubus. But soon they realize that no matter how many times they kill her, the world will never be free of Tomi. So that's pitch number 1. Pitch number 2 is another one of his graphic novels. This is called Gyo. I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Is it spelled like Gyo?
Gyo, yes.
Okay.
And Tomi is spelled Tomie.
How much of Tomi are you pitching?
So the complete Tomi, they have it available here on Comixology, and I'll put an asterisk on that. But the entirety of that one thing there.
Well, how much is an entirety? Like, how many volumes is that?
It's a graphic novel, so it is one thing, but it is.
All right, cool. Okay, got it.
Bigger, yeah. So Gyo, same thing. It's a graphic novel. It says, the floating smell of death hangs over the island. What is it? A strange-legged fish appears on the scene. So begins Tadashi and Kaori's spiral into the horror and stench of the sea. Here's the creepiest masterpiece of horror manga ever, from the creator of from the creator of Uzumaki, Junji Ito. I cannot speak right now. Hold your breath until all is revealed. Something's rotten in Okinawa. There you go. That's the pitch with that one. That one I thought was interesting because it's just about a bad smell. and just like what it drives, like the madness it drives people to. So I thought that one was interesting here. He has a lot of ideas like that, where he just takes like one simple thing and it's just like, what if people became obsessed with that one thing and it just drives them to insanity and madness. So that is pitch number 2. And last but not least, pitch number 3 is called Shiver. And this is a collection of short stories.
Ooh, okay.
Says this volume includes 9 of Junji Ito's best short stories as selected by the author himself and presented with accompanying notes and commentary. Says, an arm peppered with tiny holes dangles from a sick girl's window. After an idol hangs herself, balloons bearing the faces of their destined victims appear in the sky. An amateur film crew hires an extremely individualistic fashion model and faces a real bloody ending. An offering of 9 fresh nightmares for the declaration of horror fans. Or delectation of horror fans? Yeah, I guess that's the right word. Yeah, so 3 Junji Ito selections here. Yeah. Pitch number 1 is Tome. Pitch number 2 is Gyo. And pitch number 3 is Shiver. Now, my caveat is that, of course, we often try to stick to stuff that is on like streaming services, or when we do comics, to ones that are on Comixology Unlimited or one of the like Marvel or DC apps where we can get them as if we're paying for a service. This is not available on Comixology Unlimited. However, you can buy them on Comixology, which is just on Amazon. So if you have a Kindle and want to read them on that, or a tablet or something, you can purchase them and read them on that. I'd let you know beforehand that whatever one you pick, that's the one I'm going to buy, because I've just been interested in reading more of his work. So I was going to buy one anyways.
Okay. So there's not one of them that's notably more expensive than the other ones, right? Are they all around the same price?
They are all the exact same.
Oh, okay.
price.
I'm like,
Yes.
I don't want to pick something that's $20, and you're like, okay, the other ones were $16.
Yeah, no. That wouldn't be a factor. Even if it was. But so here's the thing with manga. Manga often reads faster than Western comics here. So that's why I feel like we can do some of these, especially Tome. That one is the longest one, I will say. That one, it's the Tome Complete Deluxe Edition that they have here on Comixology. It is a total of 752 pages, but not all of that is it's the deluxe edition, so I don't know what extra material is going to be in there. I did look it up of how long does this usually take people to read. They said on an average, there's this many words in the book, and on an average rating speed, you can read the book in 12 hours ish. So I feel like even Tome is doable, but both Gyo and Shiver are the 400-ish mark.
All right. Thank you for all the details. Thank you for doing the research.
Yeah.
I think I really want to get the best bang for your buck. I want to see a true survey of different things that Junji Ito can do. So I want to read Shiver.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if we've ever covered an anthology by the same person. I think we've covered things like the movie Flavors of Youth.
Yes.
And like the anthology show Dimension 404. And like that is like an episodic, there's some writers, there's some solid writers that are there every episode, some coming in for other ones. I think the idea that it's a short story collection by one person. I don't know if we've done that exact format of something before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, here's 3 Batman stories, but the 3 Batman stories are written by like different people. I like the idea of like a solo artist's anthology of their own work.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've done multiple anthology stuff. And I think even if we had done something where all the things were by a single person, I feel like it would have been curated by someone else. Whereas I feel like this is curated by Junji Ito himself, which is interesting.
I like that idea.
Note.
Yes.
So cool. Let's read Shiver. I will go ahead after this podcast is done. I will purchase that for us, and that will be in our Comixology app for this next week. So good stuff. Getting into horror month is good.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I don't think we've done a manga during horror month before.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know I've pitched some, but I don't think that they've gotten picked. Or at least in the past, I've pitched horror manga. I'm not sure if it was in this month here, but yeah, good stuff. More Junji Ito. I'm excited. I think it will be good. Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at WilkyWit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, a show where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kid shows you feel like only you remember. And we are also doing some Halloween-themed topics this month.
Cool.
And so we just put out an episode about Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which is a Scooby-Doo adaptation from around like 2010 or 2011 that Cartoon Network did. That is stunning. Looks so cool. It's got this really moody atmosphere to it. And it's a show with actual mythology, an actual long-running eerie mystery for the mystery gang to solve. You and I talked about season 1 of the show like 4 years ago, like really early on.
Yeah.
And then over on Saturday Morning Obscurities, every episode we just talk about 2, maybe 3 episodes of a show we're covering. So you can get a nice little survey over there.
Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. And of course, if you guys would like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we are up to here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. So please go like, share, and subscribe. You guys know the deal with that. That would help us out a ton. If you're on the YouTube version of this, go check out one of our other videos over there on that side. That would help us out a ton. This has been number 225 of the Whatnauts Review Show. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.